Greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I hope this finds you doing well. Well, the time has arrived. This coming Thursday at 6 p.m. in our Family Life Center, we're going to be gathering for a special church conference to vote in regards to disaffiliation from the United Methodist Church. I also want you to be aware that the evening before, on Wednesday, also at 6 p.m., we're going to gather in the old sanctuary for 45 minutes for a time of prayer. So I hope you'll be able to come to both of these. Now, for the Thursday evening, 6 p.m. special church conference, there are some things I really want to make sure you're aware of. So if up to now you've been kind of half-heartedly listening, now's the time to definitely listen carefully. In fact, I've jotted down some notes for this video so that we make sure that you're aware of some of the details. The first one is this: now is the time to get your questions answered. If you still feel that you have questions, be sure to get them answered now. And the reason for that is because the conference itself will not be a time for questions and answers or discussion or conversation. The conference will probably be fairly brief. Our district superintendent will be here to lead us in the process of voting. Again, as we've said, only those who are actually present at the 6 o'clock conference are able to vote. So you do want to show up on time, even a little bit early, to be there. Also, you'll need to be an official member of Bethany Church. So if you have any uncertainties about that, be sure to check with our church office to make sure whether or not you are an official member on the membership roster of Bethany Church. We've printed a number of question and answer documents over the last couple of years. I hope you've had a chance to see them. Again, if not, you can contact the church office and we can make sure we get them to you. We're going to send out tomorrow, Saturday, another copy of some of the explanation as to what's happening. Some have asked, why so sudden? This feels kind of rushed. And that's a good question. Part of the reason we're moving now in the time frame that we are is because our bishop of the West Ohio Conference has set certain dates that are non-negotiable. November 19th will be a time in which the West Ohio Conference, of which we are a part, will have a vote whether or not to permit churches desiring to disaffiliate to do so. That's November 19th. And so we have to have all of the other details finished prior to that date. Then our bishop, Bishop Gregory Palmer, has also established December 31st as kind of the final day in the United Methodist Church for those congregations that will be disaffiliating. Some have asked, are we the only church doing this? And the answer is no, we're not. There are a number of other churches going down the pathway to vote about disaffiliation. Some are in our district in this area, certainly some are in our conference, and there are a number of current United Methodist churches going down this pathway currently. So we are certainly not alone. Some have also asked, why does our annual conference have such rigid requirements, primarily financial? And the reality is the West Ohio Conference is being, I would say, more reasonable than some of the other conferences we've learned in the pathways that they're requiring for this process. Now, part of the process for disaffiliation, if we would vote, and again, we need a 2/3 majority vote to disaffiliate, part of the requirements is that we make a financial payment to cover the unfunded pension fund, or to make sure it's not unfunded, and also to pay in advance the next year's apportionment dollars. And with that said, some have asked, can we afford this? I think a better question is, can we afford not to? The reality is, we would pay those monies anyway, just in a longer period of time. But this is more than a question of just dollars. It's a question of who do we feel God is calling us to be? When we consider the foundational values of Bethany Church, What denomination do those values line up with best? I believe, our governing board believes, that they would line up in more harmony with the newly emerging denomination, the Global Methodist Church. Now, again, what is the financial cost? These are to be adjusted in a few weeks, but currently they're about $180,000 for the pension fund, and then our apportionments are $43,000 to our conference each year. So if you add those together, that's about $223,000. I've been told, based on the government adjustments recently, there may be some adjustments. I don't think it'll be much from what I understand. Our finance team here is negotiating with a couple of banks to take out a loan of about $250,000 to be able to make this happen. So, what will be the result of that? What will you and I personally pay? Well, there certainly are some steps that we will be taking. For one thing, Bethany will operate in a more lean manner as we look to the upcoming budget. Secondly, the Global Methodist Church has communicated that the required level of apportionments will be less than what we've been paying in the United Methodist Church. Again, a church our size currently pays about $43,000 to the conference, about $7,000 to the district. We pay about $50,000. It's been communicated that this amount will be decreased. And then third, certainly we will all examine our hearts and rise to the level of giving, of offering, of our tithes and offerings as to how God is leading us. I'm confident God will lead us in the way He would have us go. Sometimes it kind of feels to me like we're like Moses and the people of Israel as they were leaving Egypt. And they looked and they saw behind them Pharaoh and his army coming. And they saw in front of them the Red Sea. And they felt that they were kind of caught in a difficult situation. And they were. Sometimes it feels a little bit like that to me as well. But let's remember that God provided a way to open up a pathway on which they could move forward according to the way that He desired. And so Moses raised his staff and God opened up the sea. What is God calling us to do? He's calling us to be faithful in prayer, to be trusting in who He is and where He's leading us, to be generous in who we are and what we do, and then to trust that God will lead us in the way He would have us go. No matter what happens on this coming Thursday evening, we know these things. Jesus is still Savior and Lord of the world, of you and I, that He has been, He is, and He will be with us. And so I pledge, and I believe you join with me, we're going to follow Him and the way He would have us go, because our mission is to be His disciples who make disciples to transform the world. Well, I know I've shared a lot. I do look forward to gathering with you this Sunday for worship and then for this special meeting. God is faithful. Be blessed. We'll see you soon. Take care.